and welcome. This is Brian Smith Live in the Library. Today we are reading some books. Welcome everyone. Welcome Boris. Welcome Luke. Welcome Mr. Max. Welcome Jake. Welcome Red Candy Guy. Welcome Q. Welcome everyone. Having a late breakfast with the stream. I just had my dinner. In fact, there's a little story behind my dinner. Everything went wrong with dinner today, you see. Lucas, yes, new book today. New book. I'm good. I'm recovering from my life not going as planned with dinner. I wanna tell you what happened with my dinner before we start. So me and my boyfriend, we always plan our dinners for the week, because then when we go for the weekly shop, we know what we're gonna buy, we know what we're gonna use. And today we planned to have belly pork, and we got the belly pork out of the freezer to defrost, but then it was frozen! Still! We got out hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours ago, and there's still parts of it frozen, so we were like, what do we do? And then we have emergency pizza for this kind of situation, some emergency frozen pizza. But the problem is what we'd normally do is we'd have half this frozen pizza each and just have some chips with it. Fries for you Americans, but chips. But problem is the chips were outside in the garage and it's cold and we didn't want to go outside. And then we're like, okay, so what else can we do? And I was like, let's just have pasta with it. Let's just have pasta with the pizza. And boyfriend was like, no, that's too weird. We can't do that. Do you have a microwave? What? Yes. I suppose we could have just defrosted it in the microwave, Mr. Max. That probably would have solved all of our problems. However, we did just order pizza instead. We just ordered Domino's instead. So I had to like scarf down most of my Domino's before stream prep time. Can microwave meat to defrost it. I do know that, but usually microwaves are a special option for meat. They do. How is the pork belly now? It's currently in the fridge, and we're gonna leave it in the fridge until tomorrow, and we'll have it for tomorrow's dinner now. That's what's gonna happen to the belly pork. But yeah, pizza is always a good fallback option, and it usually is. But the chips were outside! And now we've had a bit of a fat weekend, really. I had KFC for lunch as well. And, what did we have yesterday that was quite fatty? Tortilla! I had a burrito with, like one of the bowl burrito, open burrito, naked burrito things. Yeah, I had a naked burrito the day before. I feel so fat. I feel so fat this weekend. It's terrible. Yeah, that's been my evening. And what's been my day is emotionally getting over the 2K subs I have. What the fudge cake? I'm one of those people who starts things and I kind of... I go in with the mindset of expect the worst, hope for the best, but apparently that's not the mindset I actually have. My actual mindset is... expect the worst, be absolutely flabbergasted by the best, and that's what I am, flabbergasted. It's crazy. Absolutely bonkers. It took me like a year to get to 1K, and now I got to 2K in like barely a month. Bonkers. Our family usually fallbacks on beans, queso fresco, and tortillas when dinner plans go sideways. That sounds really nice and honestly a lot healthier than the option we went for. On the bright side, I have leftover pizza. Yeah, for tomorrow's... Maybe not tomorrow's lunch because I'm working. Maybe tomorrow's breakfast. Yeah, I could just have a big breakfast tomorrow. Pizza for breakfast. But today... without further ado, shall we look at this book? It's called The Colosseum, Pilot Episode. It has a really long title because I imagine the author wanted to get in all those lovely keywords, so it is described as a game-lit, near-future sci-fi series. Leftovers pizza is kind of the better pizza for me. Fair. Old pizza turned to rock, so I gobble on one. Let me read you the blurb before we get into it, so you have an idea of what we're going into. Welcome to the Colosseum, a game lit near future sci-fi series. It's 2060. The 10 highest rank evolution players from around the world are invited to the Colosseum to take their chance at competing against the best, earn a living playing the game they love, and have free room and board in Las Vegas' newest hotel. If they lose, they go home. Cypher, a gamer who has reached fame through victory in the Colosseum, is humbled by an unfortunate diagnosis. Afraid the show will go on without him, he enters the trials to become a trainer within the Colosseum. Cypher will have to overcome his self-serving tendencies and put the invited competitors above him. He'll have to make his students' problems his own. Ken, enraged at Cypher taking what he feels should have been his, is sent on the opposite path. A path of destruction, a path of revenge. He hates the game developers, and most of all, he hates Cypher. After pushing his body to the limit, he uses his newfound power to target Cypher's students. He plans to use the virtual arena to obliterate each student, live in front of millions, erasing Cypher's legacy. Live in front of millions, not live. I read that wrong. Can Cypher hold it together? Can he work with his new prospects and prepare them for the Colosseum's biggest threats? Does he have enough wisdom and connections to help those who have been fated to him? I'm afraid I've led you all into the lion's den, and I don't know if I can protect you. Yeah. Yeah, game lit is a new term. I know RPG lit is a thing where it's like basically people are writing their own game stories and books because they can. But I guess game lit in this sense is that it revolves around a game, because it feels more like a high stakes league kind of thing. 2060, hopefully on the colony ship Alpha Centauri. You're gonna be alive in 2060. Oh, I don't know. We'll see if the planet survives that long, let alone me. But let's get into it. The Colosseum pilot episode. I have permission from the publisher. I'm okay. Chapter 1, January 2060. Cypher. Cypher was alone in a Las Vegas Cypher was alone in Las Vegas's best hospital, pacing nervously, getting more and more frustrated with each minute that came and went beyond the time schedule. He looked like he hadn't seen the sun in weeks. 33 and shy of 6 feet, wearing a tight-fitted white button-up shirt, jeans and sunglasses turned up, resting on top of his bald head. Not the most cut guy in the Colosseum, but he stood out in an average crowd. Cypher benefited from the extensive healthcare plan with athletic preference, a deal the Colosseum had made with State Farm. They had convinced the insurance company with money to work closely with the best hospital in Vegas. They gave priority to Colosseum competitors. They had an entire team dedicated to them. The hospital nutritionists collaborated with the hotel chefs to customize meal plans for each individual competitor, delivered to their suites or available in the cafeteria. Oi! Oi, 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 oi. Wait, no, buttons. Correct, I need the correct buttons. I need this button, that button, there we go. Take that. Take that! Take those no yous and your compliments. No, you! Express purpose of why that emote exists. Yeah, no you. No you. You can't know you my know you, Jake. No. Bro! Why are you so soft, Luke? Why are you so soft? Soft. I know. You show you're scaly and not fuzzy because you're so goddamn soft! Meh. Nice people. Pretty Elizabeth Dusk, nothing but no use. Yes, that's all we need. As long as we can reflect the enemy back, it's fine. Yo, soft scales, cause the kind of scales also base skin. Ugh, that explains it. Too soft. The Colosseum treated their fighters like royalty. It was the life, except Cypher's hands were becoming difficult to ignore. Cypher had been waiting for 15 minutes and was getting impatient. 10 years of medical school and he can't be on time for an appointment? Impressive. No, you're cool. No, you. The doctor finally entered the room, and Cypher's pacing came to a stop. The doc had a tablet in his hand, and a face that told Cypher he was sick of giving his patients bad news. They can't train these dudes to have any sort of poker face? Hello, Cypher. I'm afraid it's not good news. After examining your hands, listening to you describe the pain, and conferring with an online conference, we have concluded that you are experiencing early onset arthritis, which is more commonly referred to as RA. You are young for this, but we're 99% sure that's what you have. Cypher shook his head and raised his hands. Okay, so what does that mean? Are you done? Am I supposed to know what that means? Did I go to the medical school? Because I don't remember going to the medical school. Is amnesia also a side effect? Okay. Sorry. It's an autoimmune disease or disorder that affects your joints. For some reason, we do not know why your own body is attacking your inner linings. Your joints are in an ongoing battle with your immune system. Cypher continued to shake his head in disbelief. Well, that's unfortunate. Fuck. I eat well, I exercise, I don't believe this. Why is this happening to me? What's the cause of whatever you said, the arthritis? The doc took a step back. Cypher, I'd love to give you a reason, but honestly, truth is nobody knows. We don't know why your body one day decides it's going to attack itself. Doctors are not God. We do not know everything. I'd love to give you a reason, but I can't. I don't know. Nobody does. What's going to happen to me now? Cypher stopped shaking his head and glared at the doc with wide eyes, and his hands up to suggest, well, what the fuck are you going to do about me? What the fuck is going to happen to me? The doc punched in a few things in his tablet until it displayed the progression of the autoimmune disease, and handed it over to Cypher. It displayed an animation of the human body with red areas pulsating on the joints. He read the description off to the right. Usually affects hands initially, eventually wrists, knees, elbows, ankles, toes. Joints are vulnerable. Cypher rested the tablet on the raised bed, moved over to the chair in the corner and took a seat, lowering his head. Fuck. You're going to be okay, Cypher. We've had experience treating this. We'll start with an injection of powerful anti-inflammatory drugs, trying to avoid foods that cause inflammation like egg whites and milk. Start supplementing collagen, peptides too. Will strengthen your joints. You need to do research yourself and start experimenting with what works for you. We be willing to adapt depending on what you feel. Some lifestyle advice, move around. I know it sounds backwards, but it strengthens your muscles and gives your joints more stability. It will delay the progression of your disease. Keep moving, take walks, exercise your hands. These will help your symptoms. Try to maximize your strength while limiting physical impact to your joints. Swimming is highly recommended. Zero impact with full body strength increase. I've already spoken with the Colosseum liaison. They are sectioning off a lane in one of the hotel pools for your personal use. Reserved 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The pool will help, I promise you. We did not tell them about your arthritis. We simply recommended it as a useful exercise that would improve your performance in evolution. Cypher had his head down. I didn't think this was going to be a big deal. This is life-altering. The doc was concerned, but he tried to put on a reassuring face. It'll be okay, the doctor said. Cypher got up from the corner chair and looked at him. Thanks for the tips. I'll try swimming. You don't want any treatments before you go today? Nah, not yet. Cypher didn't know what to think. He was in shock. Other than continuing to grow hair, his body had always held up to this point. He got up, still stunned, and left the doc's office. Bro, that sucks. Whenever Ken was training, dang it, you missed a lot. You thought the thing said, it did originally say that, and admittedly that was my mistake. It should have been half an hour earlier. I do apologize for it. That was my bad. Whenever Ken was training, sure enough, there was young Jimmy. Today, the Colosseum's gym consisted of fighters, trainers, and one single Jimmy. His father was laid back enough to lend him the gym pass under a few conditions. Little Jimmy made sure not to bother Ken's workouts. He treated it as a ceremony, usually sitting in a chair against the opposite wall with an Evo console, a set of weights, or a workout machine in between himself and Ken to block some line of sight. He didn't want Ken knowing of his presence. He wanted to learn from the best, without interfering the process. I'm sure that was probably partly on me for not paying much attention while playing on Minecraft. Nah, it wasn't on you. Like I said, I completely misscheduled this stream originally. I had to change it. Yo, Ken, did he know Ryan Gosling was in this book? I don't know what you're on about, Cooler Soup, but that's very cooler if you would guess. People might think of him as shy, but he didn't see it that way. Observing the training process completely organically was what he was interested in. He loved how focused and disciplined the entire atmosphere was during Ken's sessions. Ken was completely aware of Jimmy. The admiration was flattering, and he felt a sort of responsibility to bring his best into training, to set a good example. Ken was currently on the rope, but being timed by Winston. It was the only rope in the gym, and it went through the entire center, all the way up through 8 floors to the high ceiling. During this particular workout, there was no instruction given. Ken was climbing and Winston was timing, over and over and over again. Ken landed off the rope, Winston would read the timeout, followed by a plus or minus, along with the number of seconds over or under the previous day's record. The goal was improvement, and they needed a way of confirming that the improvement was taking place. Each time a new record was set, Winston would blow the whistle, tally the new time on his clipboard, and shout out a new time to beat. During this exercise, they'd keep it simple, and they'd work hard at it. They applied this mentality to most of their training techniques. I've been told I was the coolest kid in the block, but they lied. I'm lame, and I have a sense of humor so broken that not even super glue can fix it. I like that metaphor you used there. The metaphor's good. To Jimmy, the rope looked unclimbable. He'd get nervous when Ken got too small to see, but Ken always made it down just fine. Jimmy was always relieved when he saw him safely drop down the rope. Ken was the best Ringo main in the Colosseum. A main refers to... I like that it explains a main, but really you're not picking this up if you don't know what a main is. But then again, I suppose you never know who's going to be picking up your book, so it's best to have a little bit of explanation, just in case. Ken was the best Ringo main in the Colosseum. A main refers to what mythic a person uses inside of evolution. It is a body that they climb into when they play. All the mythics look different and have different lore, themes, fighting styles, strengths and weaknesses. At its core, evolution is a fighting game. The mythic a player chooses has a tremendous impact on what they can bring to evolution. Wait a sec, Winston! Hey kiddo! Ken yelled. A main is a thing on a lion, but a main is also what you play in a game. Yeah, it's like a mecha fighter thing. I don't know how. I haven't gone far enough in this book to see an actual match of it yet, and I'm genuinely very curious to see how evolution plays. Ken's voice rang through the gym, and Jimmy's face went wide with shock. He knew he was the only one in the gym that would be referred to as kiddo, and it scared him that he knew that. He wanted to believe he misheard. It must have been some of the weights dropping or the machine moving, but there was Ken, staring at Jimmy. Even through his shock, Jimmy managed to build up the courage to wander to the center of the gym where the rope dangled. Come on, you've been watching me. Give it a shot. Jimmy looked up at the 6'3" Ken like he was mad. I can't climb that. Ken, we're losing valuable time here. Winston interjected. With a name like Winston, he needs to sound like, Ken, we're losing valuable time here. Winston interjected. Ken, frustrated that Winston wasn't playing along, didn't let it go. Look, this kid is obviously interested in the sport. Let me humor him. We already lost your heart rate. Ken waved off Winston and bent down, meeting Jimmy's face with his own. Ken looked at him dead in the eye and told him, push yourself. Every day, little man. You can compete here with the best. You think I should? If you want it bad enough. I want it! Winston from New Girl. I can't wait to see Say Ken say, oh, actually that should be hilarious because apparently Ken goes on a rampage later, so this is going to be a very interesting Ken-off later. If it means you'll have to work really hard, I can work really hard, Jimmy said, nodding. Are you sure? Yes, sir! Well, you're on your way, little man. I have to get back to work. Okay, buddy? Winston here is quite the grouch, and he needs me to focus. Jimmy ran off, still in shock, about getting to spend some one-on-one time with his hero. Chapter 3, Ash Hannah's Inside Perspective. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out. It's giving try hard. Oh, it's giving try hard. Cypher was surrounded by screens in his hotel suite, all connected to the latest hardware. He was swapping back and forth from his mouth to his keyboard. He felt an agonizing pain in his fingers. He jolted back and held his hand to examine them. He stretched out his fingers and rubbed areas where the pain came from. It was still lingering. I should take a break. He had long been collecting data on every evolution match he knew of. His software algorithms collected, labeled, and time-stamped key moments in each fight from the web. The algorithm broke down the wins and losses of each player, the mythic they were using, and how long the fight was. Cypher had created quite the databank for evolution. The data formed winning percentages for player matchups, mythics, stages, and most importantly, what mythics countered each other. For other fighters were most likely finding some way to get decent data pulled from other sources, but nobody had this. Cypher was confident that what he'd collected was the most up-to-date and detailed. He not only used his data to win matches, but he also sold it around Vegas to local gambling addicts. An app called Look at Me pinged. Cypher turned to the left screen. It alerted him of any videos with a title or description mentioning the name Cypher Cypher in the context of the Colosseum or evolution through the web. He pings when he has been Googled. He Googles himself. That's usually not wise, she says, but she's done it herself. And you know what I found when I Googled myself, actually? I found you guys recommending me on Reddit! Yay! Thank you, guys! Cypher placed his hands on the mouse and keyboard to start up the video. A surge of sharp pain shot through both of his hands this time. Cypher immediately took his hands off the mouse and keyboard and turned them inwards. He examined them closely. He could see some visible inflammation. Damn it, Cypher grimaced. Not only in pain, but now in fear. This has got to stop. It was impossible for him to concentrate on organizing the data on Ken. Cypher was becoming more nervous. It was getting harder to ignore the discomfort. He needed to be sharp in his evolution fights, not thinking about pain. How am I supposed to focus? He decided to continue ignoring it to the best he could. For now, he slowly moved his arm, trying his best to compromise with his hands. Googling yourself could have gone horribly wrong, Brent. It could have, but it didn't. No, I like Googling my books as well, because honestly I have no idea what marketplaces my books end up on sometimes. And it's magical, some of the places it ends up on. Like, do you know there's someone else? Like, that's how I found out that my books are on the Walmart website. I would have never known that they were sold on Walmart if I hadn't have Googled them. Click. The video began. Hello, I'm here with Amaru, tonight's unfortunate loser. You had an $8,000 bounty on your head. You've been performing well. That match, however, didn't go so well. Cypher is such a unique opponent, always bringing different mythics to the Colosseum. What is it like playing against him? I wrote books. I've written 5 books now, haven't I? Moon Girl 5 was it 5 that came out? Yes, it was. I've written 5 books, hopefully with 6 coming out this year. I am super duper self-published author with books, yes. Links in the description if you are curious about said books. They are superhero books. Superhero novels with dragons in them, because dragons are important. For the first 3 books, there's 3 different dragons. It's great. I mean, with fan artists, but yeah, I guess that I kind of want to find fan art on myself. I don't care if it's lewd. I just want to. I would love for people to draw me. Besides, I'm masquerading as an anime girl. Lewd shit's probably gonna happen at some point. I gotta live with that. Yeah, I am the beast. The cool kids call me the beast. There has to be some. I haven't found any. If anyone does find any art of me, yeah, I don't care if it's lewd. It's the internet. There's gonna be lewd. If I have, it's the rule, isn't it? If you're on the internet, there's porn. Therefore, I'm on the internet. So no, I don't give a shit if it's lewd. I saw a really weird Reddit thread at one point where apparently one VTuber had a threatening blackmail email Because someone had made like a naked version of their model and was trying to blackmail them through it, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you post that, sweetie, I don't care. I really wouldn't care. Yeah, rule 1334, exactly. I know, right? I was like, what is this thread? And most of the comments, and even the other person was like, I'm just so confused. But yeah, I think you're technically one of the few people, Luke, who have actually drawn some fan art of me, and I appreciate that. Swaney's done a little bit in the Discord. Someone's gotta have jumped to a fish, probably. But yeah, that was a wild thing I saw on Reddit. Yeah, there's probably a generic blonde with lewds that you could probably get away with. Like, that you could pretend that are close enough. But anyway, we're getting distracted, very distracted by my severe lack of fan art. But anyway, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Cypher is, yeah, he's something else. What's it like playing against him? Well, I'm still asking that myself. He just shows up with a good idea of how you're gonna fight, and, then he just doesn't let you do anything. He threw an unforeseen wrench in my plans from the start. The wrench grew and grew until I was paralyzed and confused, I guess. Sorry, I'm still trying to process the loss. Yeah, by all means. I'll do it a bit of card draw, so I hope you don't mind it turning out upside. You do what you want. You can draw me if you want Film the Size Phantom, I don't mind. I think I have fan art from Luke. New Luck has fan art from Void. And then there's the doodles in the... I believe Swaney put them in the art. Swaney's incredible doodles in the art tab of the Discord, which is Discord link in the description as well if you'd like to see those. You just have to scroll up a little bit past my crochet nonsense, and then you'll see the wonderful one of me in a box. And I believe there was an attempt at drawing me as a Gundam, but it didn't quite get finished, but that's okay. Yes, and you made the emoji too, Lucas. That was it's a good emoji. It's a good emoji. Well, there you have it, folks. Cypher throws wrenches inside of his opponents. If you're up against him, tighten your bolts. Thank you so much, Amaru, for taking time to give us an inside perspective. Now, are you going to rethink your strategy next time you get a bounty sniped by Cypher? If I prepare for him too much, it may take away my potential against other opponents. No other opponent switches mythics from match to match. Each mythic has their own powers of mobility, attacks, and ways of defending themselves. Each mythic has their own advantages and disadvantages. And when you're in evolution, when you're in the body and fighting as these mythics, they each have their own feel. So yeah, what Cypher does is impressive. He can pick and choose from a bunch of different mythics, depending on what will give him the edge he wants. And he executes. Great question, by the way. You're better than most interviewers. You heard it first. I'm the best. Thank you, Amaru, for our inside perspective. I'm Hannah, and this has been your inside perspective. Not gonna lie, Gundam version you sound pretty cool. Yeah, it's my real form, obviously. Still working on the Gundam version, just a very slow drawer. No problem, Boris, you take your time. Also, with growth, you'll probably be getting fan art in less than a year or so. I should probably think about an art tag then, if that's the case. Brat. Is there any reason There's a reason why I never promise any deadlines for Turing. Ironic since you're an accountant. It's just you put all your focus for deadlines on your day job, and you know what? I get it. That's the thing that brings in the money. You gotta put your focus on it. Yeah, I should make an art tag, and that will probably encourage it. But I wouldn't know. What would I even do as an art tag? I don't even have a normal tag. I should probably like think of tags like the big YouTubers have. But I didn't really think about doing that originally because I thought like, nah, no one will want to do like tweet about me and shit. So I'll think about an art tag. I don't know what. If you have any suggestions, feel free to throw them out. Cypher exited the video. He'd be lying if he said he didn't get off to content like this. He didn't care. Winning should be all the motivation you need. Don't get a big head. Being famous has strings attached to it. These were things, for whatever reason, people felt the need to express. The most honourable way to handle a situation, and the way Cypher usually handles things might not be polar opposites, but you should expect some grey area. He did worry a little, though, about people talking online about his approach to evolution, and that made him uncomfortable. A lot of his advantages came from the fact he was different. He was a gamer, not a martial artist. His approach, his confidence, his past experiences were all from a gamer's mindset. The difference between Cypher and most fighters in the Colosseum was that he could look at their previous matches and adapt a counter. If the other fighters looked at Cypher's previous matches, it would only mislead them. They would only grow confidence in random places. Cypher's goal tonight was to form a game plan and challenge Ken. Ken's bounty had grown out of control because of his win streak. He was on a tear. He was prime for the plucking, too juicy for Cypher to pass on. Cypher was going through the data on his computer, trying to see if anything stood out about Ken that he could exploit. Seemed as though Ken's mythic, Rengo, did lose matches. It was always within the first 15 minutes. But for Ken specifically, his losses were sub 10 minutes. That's when he was vulnerable, while he's building his whittle forest. Oh, scary. I wonder what that means. Speaking of art, it pisses me off the amount of AI art I see anyway. Yes! Oh yes, it does. Like, oh, I was looking for artists to give money to make art of me, because I do want more art. And the amount of times I came up against AI, like I was going, oh, this is good. And then I'd read the descriptions, go, I'm an AI artist. I'm like, oh, bro. Nah, I'm good. Agreed, Lucas. It's insane how much AI is flooding the net. It's terrible. And you can't, I'll admit, some of it I can't tell, but like for anime stuff, I feel like I can tell. You like, there's obviously the hands issue, there's like writing, I can't do writing very well. And some of the, you could just tell, you could just look at it and go, like, I kind of know which processor, like which website you use to generate that as well. It's just, ugh. The best part about AI art is the fact that you can tell easily after looking at a lot of it. Yeah, after you've played around with it. Because I've played around it for funsies. Me and like friends on Discord have been like, lol, this is this. Like, that's fine. But people try to like actually benefit, like profit off of it. You should have more confidence in your art. You should, Jake! Art things for funsies and do it anyway. Art tag. A name for briny fan art. Forbidden comic books, forbidden picture books! Yes! Picture books! Briny's picture books! Briny's picture books! Yes! I like that. Bring it back to books and things. I like it. It's mostly for the human or AI drawings. Yeah, you can tell for those ones. I cringed so hard when my partner told me about their brother being proud of the AI art he made and the work he put into his prompts. Ugh, it hurts. Bro. That's so sad. Oh no, you have a headache, Void? You should... I appreciate you being here, but you should probably stop watching and look after yourself. The screen is likely not helping. Look after yourself, okay? Go get some painkillers or something. Look after yourself. Cypher began searching through his data on which mythics had the strongest early game. Which mythics quick win? I need aggression. Paltak apparently had the most sub 10 minutes wins. Unfortunately, as large as Cypher's mythic pool was, he had zero experience playing Paltak. Paltak was not an option he could make use of. Gotta at least get one of my mythics in here. Okay, nice. The wolves, of course. AI artists use AIR to make money. I use AIR to make lewd images of anime girls for myself only. Honestly, yeah. It's like, to me, it's like songs you don't use it. It's songs you use it like for dumb stuff. Like I have a friend who likes to use it during our D&D matches. We don't have D&D sessions. Matches implies we fight each other, which may happen sometimes, but not all the time. So he uses it for his D&D sessions to like try and make some of the scenes that are happening, things like that, and that's fun. That's for giggles. Gotta get the blue light filtering. Yes, blue light filtering is also very important. But no. Yeah, I don't blame you, because the AI is bad. It's bad. Why did we let the technology learn how to make art rather than making it learn to do basic jobs so that we don't have to do basic jobs anymore? But then capitalism would make anyone doing a basic job really just fire them and not give them any money, so it would kind of ruin society, but society should be better. And, this is depressing. Anyway, let's meet this guy called Rick. I'm sure he's nice. After seeing the river, Rick slammed his fist down on the table. Okay, maybe he's a bit angry. Yeah, let's not go there. We wanna escape reality. Red chips, black chips, and blue chips flew up, crackling in midair. Everyone at the poker table turned in his direction. The dealer was standing, staring at him with distaste, a long trail of ash only holding because of the dealer's frozen glare. The rest of the players were half drinking from their glasses and half mean-mugging Rick as if to ask if he was finished with his little tantrum. Rick tried both getting up and finishing his drink simultaneously, but his sobriety was nowhere to be found. He tumbled over his seat, bumping the large gentleman sitting on his left. Rick barely caught himself while somehow saving his drink. "Watch it, buddy." Rick turned around, looking at the guy he bumped. "My apologies, fine sir. Let me buy you a drink." The bouncer-looking guy got up off his seat and towered over Rick. "Drinks are free at the table, asshole. Get your loser ass out of here." Okay, jeez. Offer to buy a friend a drink. Try to be nice. What in the world? What a world. Rick said. We're not friends. I don't know who you are. Stop talking to me. Well, now, you're just being rude, big fella, Rick said. When Rick was about to turn and walk away, the waitress came to give the recently annoyed man a drink. Rick leaned back and called attention to the waitress. "Hey, pretty girl, could you put this drink on my tab?" "Drinks are already on the house when gambling, sir," the waitress said. The off-duty bouncer was shaking his head. Fucking troll. A smile shot across Rick's face as he turned and hastened to the exit. You don't have to stop talking, but you just should look after yourself is all. The off-duty bouncer was shaking his head. Oh wait, I read that bit. Rick made his way to the Colosseum sports book. The entire wall was made up of display screens divided into current live sporting events. Rows upon rows of betting stations shot out from the screen on the ground floor, comprised of recliners and tables. Above the center bar, there was a flat surface used to project the post-fight interviews. Vegas was in rebuilding stage. Enough investors had ended up rallying together, forming an alliance, and it was working. The Colosseum was one of the earliest improvements to modern Vegas. Tourists traveled worldwide to come see the fighters and be close to the action. It turned out the viral sport was exactly what Vegas needed. Evolution's impact on modern society continued to grow without a ceiling. Vegas had given the online sport a physical address, a place where the virtual and the physical worlds could collide. Rick made his way up the stairs and took his usual spot at the end of the bar. The screen was displaying Ken versus Cypher came into view. He saw his favourite bartender notice him and walk over to Rick. "Heyo, Scotty, what's new?" "What's changed?" Rick said. "Hey, Rick. There was a huge brawl here last night, right there, behind you. Guy ended up breaking his neck on the stairs." "Oh, lordy. I just realised your name is dangerous close to being Brony." "Yeah, I guess so. You're just missing an eye on there. And she's not into My Little Pony." I've never actually seen or watched My Little Pony. No. I'm very close to being a brony. In name alone. There was a bar fight. Former bar fight. Former bar fight. Former bar fight. Former bar fight. "Ouch, really?" said Rick. "Yeah, my boss has been all nervous, thinking someone's gonna sue. Camera's caught everything. Let him try, is what I tell him. He wants to be all stressed out about it, whatever." "Why did the fight start?" Rick asked. "Oh, some guy was going on bragging about how much he won on Basher. This was right after someone had just lost it all in the same fight, so yeah, he didn't much care for the bragging," said Scotty. "Is Briny a bro?" I would like to think I'm a bro. Bro doesn't have a gender thing. It's just like, bro, you're my world, bro. That kind of thing, right? Seems like a chill bro-dette. I'll take that. That's a nice compliment. I'll take that. Brony. Oh. It's terrible. It's terrible. I love it. The guy gets upset because Basher won. What did he think? That Basher was gonna lose? How can he even be mad? Some people, said Rick. They both laughed. Exactly, man. What an idiot. Was Broken Neck the winner or loser? I asked Rick. Both, I guess. They both laughed. Savage. Can I get the usual? Asked Rick. Scotty finished the... Oh, yeah, rum and coke. My favourite, too. Not to be confused with brother. Yes, I ain't your brother. Bro, there. Scotty finished up the rum and coke by squeezing a juicy wedge of lime into the cocktail and stirring and splashed another unsqueezed lime in. Oh, that's lovely. Handing the Colosseum-themed glass to Rick. It was a circular glass with 5 engraved columns down the rim. Hey, you here for Cypher versus Ken? Of course! What? Of course not. I never bet on Colosseum matches. Oh yeah. I never fancied about the inside perspective host. Never fantasize? Oh, it says fantasize, not fancied. About the inside perspective host? Said Scotty. A laugh broke out from Rick as he choked on his drink. I have bet on Ken, if you must know. But keep it down, would you? You've been betting a lot lately, Rick. A smile landed across Rick's face. Fuck yeah, I have, said Rick. The part of the screen displaying the fight started taking over the wall. The fight was starting. The Colosseum sports book always gave priority to evolution fights. That's why Rick came here. There was something more to evolution. If you knew what you were doing, you could beat the game. At least, that's what Rick had convinced himself. Hey, Scotty, do you have the new data? Yeah, it just came in. Scotty reached into his pocket and handed over a thumbstick. Nice! Rick gestured over to Scotty's tablet, while both were attempting to keep it as covert as possible, crediting Scotty with $200. Right back at you. Nice. Back at ya. Hey Rick, just so you know, that data isn't 100% okay. These fights can go either way. Yeah, I know. Why do you always tell me that? I get it. He makes me tell the customers. I have to tell you, said Scotty. Who makes you? You know I can't tell you that, Rick. Stop asking questions or I won't be able to sell you anymore, said Scotty. Rick looked down for a second, then returned the screen. Ken and Cypher were about to load in. The loudspeaker came on. Tonight we have Ken versus Cypher. Hope you all got your bets in. Cypher is going to be fighting as the mythic Ciandro, and Ken will be fighting as the mythic Rengo, of course. As soon as the announcer said Rengo, the crowd erupted throughout the venue. Everyone was stomping and banging on their tables. This fight was huge. Ken was becoming a crowd favorite. Tonight, we get to actually see him fight. I'm really excited to see how these fights go. I think I zoned out who's important and what's happening. What's happening is that bets have been placed on the fight between Cypher and Ken. And we're about to see that fight. And I assume it was Cypher's data that just got sold to our friend Rick? Rick, yes. Is $200 worth the same in 2060 now, or is it like 268? I have no idea. That's a good point. I assume so. They should have inflated. They really should have inflated. Hatsune Miku in Fortnite. Is she not already? Isn't everyone in Fortnite already? Bill Cypher versus Ken from Street Fighter. Yeah, why not? Excitement's in the air. Chapter 5. We're on Chapter 5. We're 12% through. We are going to get through this book real fast. Real fast! But that's fine, because Frankenstein took forever, so it's kind of nice to get back to something I can get through in a few streams. Hey Jimmy, it's time! The match is about to start. Mark could hear his son Jimmy slam whatever toy he was playing with in his chest, wrestle whatever socks and shoes were closest to him, and trip off balance midway down the stairs, bludgeoning into a wall. Careful, son! I've already repainted the stair walls. I did not much enjoy doing that. Sorry, Dad. It's okay. I'm happy you're excited. Jimmy looked up with a grin and said, Ken's gonna smash Cypher, Dad. Oh, you think so, do you? Said Mark. Well, Jimmy's eyes darted around with a hint of doubt, only to refocus forward. Yeah, Dad, I do. You should have seen Ken's training with Winston. I don't know how someone can be so strong and fast. I like Ken too. He's a good role model for you. He treats people with respect, admits his mistakes, works hard, and he's humble in both victory and defeat. I can't complain, son. If you're into him, I'm into him. He's awesome! They both broke into laughter. There was no feeling better than in life than when your kid is happy and excited, as Jimmy was in this moment. I hope my boy isn't crushed when Cypher wins. Oh, poor dad. He just has to pretend. Just has to pretend. I suppose maybe it's like telling your kid that Santa doesn't exist kind of thing. Ken'll win, I promise. Santa does exist. Mark had watched every Cypher fight. He was an avid gamer and a huge fan of the Colosseum. When he wasn't writing about the league, he was catching up on fights he missed and watching any new content released. He tended to pull for the gamers who competed because he could relate with them more than the martial artists. Mark knew Cypher was no joke. He felt as though he had a connection with Cypher, that he could understand a lot of the strategies Cypher executed. Occasionally, Mark was left surprised and unsure as to why Cypher would make certain decisions, only to be hit later with gaming epiphanies. Mark applied as much logic as he could to what Cypher had shown him. He didn't think too much about Cypher today, though. Nope. For his son, he'd be a Ken fan. Aww, good daddy Mark. Why is it? Evolution consoles have changed our way of life for the better. Everyone agrees. I'm curious about the origins. Can you please comment on how you came up with these miracles? I did not invent the evolution console, and the only reason we are able to create them was because our team came together with a single purpose. My friends and I were interested in virtual reality. We felt there was a potential opportunity because the answers to virtual reality at the time were solely focused on eyes and ears. We wanted to create a full-body experience. We headhunted Disney's most established roller coaster engineer, Adesh Patel, who attended top schools and trained under the best engineers Disney had to offer. He had 10 years of experience, and we convinced him to join us. He believed in our vision. That was a huge turning point for evolution. Without his experience, we may have run out of money without producing a product. Our future was more certain with him on board. To conceptualize the consoles, I rented a log cabin in North Carolina. Got everyone plane tickets and rental cars, and hired 3 chefs to take 8-hour shifts so people could eat whenever they wanted. We brainstormed together, with our laptops relaxed on the weekends, and worked during the week. We had creativity elevators delivered, if you will catch my drift, for those of our team who were into that sort of thing. Even the chefs hung out sometimes, when they were off their shifts. It was a carefree and purely creative environment. When they were off We did this for a month. It was a great time. We're actually doing a similar retreat soon. I'm excited. Big things are coming, I can promise you that. I really thought they grabbed a wild scyther and pit them against Ken from Street Fighter. Nope. Why isn't Ken training with Ryu? Because it's not Street Fighter. Kid Goku becomes an armor Superman. This is a hell of a thing Markiplier. So many familiar names in this book. I'm surprised no one has said Rick as like Rick and Morty yet either, because we did have a Rick as well. They did have a lot of money to throw around. They got Disney money. They talk about evolution, but I don't see Scyther evolving into Scissor. Ugh. We got Scyther, but where's Eevee? Oh my god, this book misses out on so much. So many references. That's cool, a bunch of gaming developers and a roller coaster engineer hanging out, eating food, and changing the world. What gave you the thought of going to a roller coaster engineer in the first place? That was brilliant. Rick and Mortis, yeah! There we go. Thank you, that's sweet of you to say. Our first concern, and I believe the sole reason nobody has followed through with an idea like this, is safety. When you're talking about entering a small container, even as comfortable as these consoles, it's still a human body surrounded by quick-moving metal mechanics. It's lethal if the engineering breaks down. It simply cannot be allowed to happen. Zero room for error. Zero! People need to trust the consoles. If anyone ever got hurt, it would be the end of us. And yet theme parks have been operating safely for an amazing amount of time. Those engineers would know the most about the balance between safety and immersion. We paid a headhunter a hefty fee to find us an engineer. Someone who has been in the thick of it for a long time, to at least hear us out, to see if our vision was possible. Adesh is a huge part of the company, and he loves it with us. Creator of Evolution, Max Angel. That's very smart to get a roller coaster expert. 'Cause he's right, like if anyone knows about safety stuff, it's gonna be a roller coaster expert. However, knowing of I guess they break down and accidents happen not very often at all. And it tends to be when they push the limits a little bit too much. Like what was that one? The Smiler that took out some people's legs once. So, Bryony, I asked one of my co-workers about the whole promote button thing you do. They claimed that if you did that once, the promotion ends, the sub count will plummet. I have heard of this, so we'll see what happens. I assume it's going to go down, because it's going to have to... I mean, that's kind of just what happens when you get a bunch of subs. It tends to go down anyway. But, I mean, hopefully it stays over 2K. We'll see. Yeah, there's definitely been some issues. Alright, we've got an actual fight. Let's go. Normal size Phantom, did you have an issue on a roller coaster once? You gonna lurk, Luke? No problem. You chill out and lurk. I can't wait to see Goku appear in Colosseum Part 2. Episode 2, I believe it would be called, since this one's called the pilot episode. I will have fun streaming. Glad you blocked try also. I'm not sure if we can have 2K sub celebrations. I hope not. Like, as long as it doesn't like go down horrifically. I'm expecting it to plummet by a few hundred afterwards. That's what I'm expecting. As long as it doesn't plummet by 1,000 and I can make a net profit of, I don't know, 1K to 500 subs, it would still be pretty worth it, honestly. Ken was alone in his suite, sitting cross-legged, back firmly against the wall of his bedroom. His face was relaxed, focused on breathing. No thoughts other than the slow and methodical inhale, followed by a slow, methodical exhale. Pure focus. He was with the universe, a part of it, not a bystander. He was. Occasionally a thought would manifest, and he would let it have its time. He would welcome it until it faded in breath. In, out. In, out. An alarm sounded with a single chirp, and Ken's eyelids parted, giving way to 2 blue oceans of purpose. He stripped down to his underwear and made his way towards his evolution room. He paused at the mirror. 27 now, and with these workouts he had been going through, he was shredded. Shaking his head, he thought, I've never been in this good of shape. I don't care who Cypher is. I will not lose. His cheap tricks and ill discipline will be exposed for what they are. Not enough. Oh, hey, Briny. Hit 1k subs again. I guess she'll have to read some. No! No, I told you, you will never get part 3 of the Sonic fanfiction. Never, ever, 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 ever. Ever. You can pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars and you will never see it. You will never see it. Ever. Ken entered his Evo. There is one. There is a stream of the Sonic fanfiction, Cool as Soup. There is a stream of it. The VOD is there, but you'll never get more of it. Patreons and members now. Actually, I need to make it available for members too. Do get part 2, but no one gets any more than that. No one ever. Never, ever, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Ken entered his Evo room. The room had a high ceiling to make room for when the Evo console rose. It was in the center of the room, surrounded by about 15 feet of padded floors, workout equipment, and a fridge in the corner. It was the biggest room in his suite. When the user was inside, he or she had full range of motion. Ken began circling the console, bouncing up and down, with his calves to get his blood flowing. Then transitioned in jumping jacks, stopping to throw the occasional left jab. 7, 8, 9, right straight, 13, 14, 15, left hook, 20, 21, 22, right uppercut. Now a few half calf kicks, a few head kicks, 48, 49, 50. After feeling warm and loose, he used the restroom, took a few sips of water, and turned back to the open console while lowering himself and taking a seat inside. The console closed over his head and lifted off the ground simultaneously, transitioning Ken into a standing position, while spinning him around into the center of the console. The sensors read his face and sealed his visor firmly over his eyes. Sensors read his ears and positioned the headphones firmly in place. Finally, sensors read his entire body, closing in and molding the entire console to the perfect shape surrounding Ken's body, fully supporting him. He felt completely weightless for a few moments while the artificial gravity procedure began. The AI came on. "Hello, Ken. Brace for natural weight in 3, 2, 1. All his weight returned, and the display came on. It all meshed so comfortably. Ken now had full range of motion and could no longer feel the console unless he really focused on it. Oh yeah, the mention of Sonic fanfiction reminded me I have to write more fanfiction, indubitably. Why would you like Minazuki? Is that Unohana's? Bankai Minazuki. There you go. Minazuki is just her Zanpakuto name. Is that not the name of her, like her actual Bankai's name? The material surrounding his entire body was a soft gel that mirrored his body's temperature. Unless it was adding to in-game immersion, If you were giving off heat because it was in the middle of a fight, and your body was working hard, the console would adapt its own temperature to contrast yours, keeping you at a proper temperature of the in-game environment. You couldn't feel it. It made being in the console extremely encapsulating. To Ken, it felt like teleporting to another dimension. You were still you, fighting as the mythic of your choosing, somewhere in the digital reality. That thing sounds super expensive for a console, unless I missed something where it's akin to a flight sim enthusiast setups. No, it just sounds super duper expensive. It also sounds like, it sounds really claustrophobic, like an Iron Maiden or something. Terrifying. And Darkshade, what's my favourite books is a really hard question. So last stream I read a book a little bit called A Brush with Magic, and that's one of my favourites because it was really inspiring for me to publish. And probably my favourite author is a lady called Kay MacLeod, and she's done 2 series that I really, really like. One's called Mayamon, which is like a post-apocalyptic Pokemon sort of series. And another one is called The Constellation Saga, which is about, like, the chosen ones. They failed to do their thing, and now the next generation has to deal with it. She's great. Like, the banter she can write is just fucking 10 out of 10. And she's made me cry many a time, and I hate her, and I love her. Ken quickly accepted the Colosseum's admin invite into the in-game lobby. Cypher had already joined. Ken's console defaulted on Rengo. Ken pushed out with his hand and confirmed Rengo. Cypher had selected the mythic Ciendro. Ciendro? Why Ciendro? Ken had never seen Cypher play the mythic, had never heard anyone mention that he even practiced with him. The mythic was not seen as one of the stronger choices. He relied on spellcasting and keeping his distance. He did have a strong late game, but such a low health pool. Good luck getting there. I mean, that's interesting, because obviously we heard Cypher figuring out what he needed. And he needed something with a strong early game, so to pick one with a late game. But then again, if Rengo is close range, then he might be able to, like, keep distance and just pew him to death. Ciendro created portals for mobility. That's it. That's exactly what he wanted. Just portal you away from him. Portals for nobility, and had powerful dark energy projectile spells. If forced into melee range, Ciendro also had a poison dagger that you couldn't underestimate. No, I don't want to gamble with my chat, really. Welcome, Ken. Welcome, Cypher. We are ready to begin. The advertisements are almost finished. Ken was fine with waiting. He could start to formulate a plan. I don't see things going well for him. Ciendro had one of the highest skill caps in the game. It took years to get comfortable with all the nuances. Ken's confidence began to rise. Bitch, you are going down! Oh, I'm excited. All right, competitors, we're ready. Are you both ready? Both Ken and Cypher responded with affirmations. Good luck. Have fun. The countdown in the pre-game lobby began. 5, 4. Speaking of $5, thanks, Void! Appreciate it. I can post an example picture in the server since I was trying to visualize it. Like super dedicated flight sims folk who recreate a cockpit and aircraft in their home. But yeah, claustrophobic. How Void gets cursed. Abomination books in the Forbidden Library. Void, now go, Moon Girl. Find a book that makes you scared. Then Briny reads it. Thank you for the super chat, Void. Appreciate it. You're the best. As 4 faded, Cypher's mythic selection changed. From Ciendro to Uthera. fair Uthran. Ken's heart. There! Bleep, 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 bleep. What was that? Oh, there's a thing in the corner. That's you. Voyager, let's super chatted. Sorry, I didn't realize that was behind the book. Let me just fix that. That one. It should be above everything. There we go. No, I don't want to play. I want to read a book. Thank you, Void. Appreciate it. I can click these hearts. Heart! Heart! I can heart your super chats. Yay! Ken's felt his heart sink. What do you mean recommendations? No! You have to do 3 at once. That's the only way it gets triggered. I can trigger it for you if you want. Dark shade, I just want to read my book. This fight would be the complete opposite of what Ken had been mentally preparing for. Ken felt extremely dumb for taking the bait. It was traditional to hover over the mythic the competitor would be using. Still dumb to trust someone like Cypher. Now he was tilted, upset with himself for investing any thought at all into the Rego versus Siandra matchup. Both fighters loaded into the game. The stage itself was the same size as the center arena of the Colosseum. They constructed the hotel completely from scratch, with evolution in mind. The Colosseum fights were not only shown in the sports books and online around the world, but they were projected into the open center of the hotel. Every hotel room had a sliding glass door and a balcony opposite side of the room entrance that opened to a glorious view of the virtual battle arena. Even the in-game fighting stages were projected into the Colosseum. As the stage was generated, Ken could feel the ground beneath his feet become warmer. He looked down and noticed some of his black fur beginning to get singed off. So Rengo's like a werewolf kind of thing? Question mark? But I can't do 3 at once because no custom button. It doesn't go... Oh, really? I may adjust how much it is. Would you like... I will trigger it for you, though, for this once, because I didn't realize that it didn't work like that. So let me just trigger it for you. Eh? Ah! What is this? What is this monies? Thank you! Oh man, I stepped away from chat for a hot second. Oh, that was different. After watching sci-fi, no. I feel like this, Miss Uzumaki, that your thing is thingy. That was something I triggered. That wasn't a real one, unfortunately. So, 3. It should happen. Nah. Apologies for it. It doesn't seem to be working properly. Settings. Yeah, I accidentally triggered that. That wasn't a real one. That was one I accidentally triggered due to pressing buttons that I shouldn't have. There we go! Yay! You have been suggested! Tiamat Empire, which is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful book. 10 out of 10. Doesn't 30 or 50% of the super chat money go to YouTube? 30%. YouTube takes 30% of my money. But hey ho! Hey ho, spaghetti-o. La 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 la. Fuck, we're in Vesuvius. As if the tilt wasn't bad enough from getting baited in the game lobby, in the pre-game lobby. Now he was loading into his worst stage. To top it off, Vesuvius was actually erupting on this fight, which was extremely rare. The odds of eruption were probably 7%. Who really knew, though? The Evo developers had full autonomy of the game. They could have generated a map for this exact fight if they wanted to. They were suspiciously private. The match begins in 3, 2, 1. Fight! I hate that he hasn't described the consoles, like what they are. I mean, he said he has fur. What does that mean? Yeah, if you do it on Kofi, I get more of the money. Ringo whipped around immediately, facing his starting stride, which had limited lava leaking through it, and waved his right arm up, casting forest growth, simultaneously leaping up to cast Divine. He could hear the barks of Uthrena's divine wolves. They were speeding towards him. Ken used forest growth again when it came up off cooldown, and leapt even higher into the canopy. Ken leaned against the bark high up in the trees with his knife out, sharpening his blade with a whetstone that was fastened around his necklace. The smell of his forest burning down was trumpeted by the sound he could hear of the snarls headed his way. Ken couldn't see through his own trees he had created, but with his exceptional hearing, the thuds of huge paws told him how close they were. Time to go. Hey Bryony, is it too late for you to make a YouTube ad for Moongirl 1 to 5? Or did you only agree to wait till 6? 1! I agreed to wait till 6. 2! I really don't have that much money to be throwing on promotions all the time, so we're gonna just sit this promotion through and see what happens before I do anything else. Continue. Ken leaned against the bark high up. Time to go. Cypher ordered one of the 3 wolves to climb up Rengo's tree, and another wolf to climb up the tree Rengo would most likely to escape too. Cypher could feel vines wrap around his left leg. The console restricted his left leg's movement, and he ended up losing balance, falling backwards onto the hopped magma, taking 20% damage. Damn it. The vine untangled from Utherin's left side. I wish they just said Cypher, or I don't know, it's very confusing. And quickly disintegrated when it touched the magma vein. Cypher picked up speed, dashing through the stage, calling his wolves. I need to herd Rengo into the magma-rich portion of the stage. He stood and motioned for his wolves to spread out and move Ken towards the opposite side of the stage. There were more magma veins leaking from the eruption towards that half of the stage. Ken's forest was failing to take over the stage due to being burned away as fast as he could create it. I'll abuse it. While casting forest growth and leaping up, the vine tethering Rengo to one of his only remaining trees on the stage quickly gave way to the heat of the closest magma veins. Ken fell to the floor, burning his shoulder, and 2 of the wolves took the opportunity and moved into position, clawing and biting 30% of Ken's health bar. No, don't distract me! I wanna read the fight! The crowd gasped. The hotel's stage projected the entire game stage into real life for everyone in the Colosseum. Ken had found his footing and reached the desired sharpness for his blade. He had led Cypher into believing that his plan was working, that he was being herded unknowingly. Ken changed directions and used every muscle fiber he had to sprint full speed at Cypher's middle wolf. Cypher would be in the center behind all three. Ken just had a feeling, pure instinct. Behind the smoke and ash, behind the burned forest and pockets of magma, Cypher would be there. Ken could hear the fast feet and snarl of his target. Ken came into view of the wolf, and it immediately stopped and let out a faint whimper, alerting the other wolves. They reacted and started to move to help, but it was too late. Ken had his knife through the wolf's heart and wasn't done. Rengo tossed the wolf aside, locking eyes now on the paladin. Cypher alone, without his wolves. Ken began again. He leapt up and cast forest growth with one arm and vines with the other. A vine appeared in front, and he took hold, speeding up and changing direction, aiming at Cypher. I think Magma is super against me. Cypher. I'm like Cypher! Cypher! Not Cypher. Cypher just lost one of his wolves to a brutal thrust from Rengo. Ken was now locked on to Cypher, and he was swinging right at him. Finally, Ken fucked up. It's about time. Ken was overextending, not respecting Uthran's power. Rengo was swinging in the trajectory that he could no longer change at will. He was on a fixed line. And the path ends on the tip of my divine hammer. Cypher activated God's will, engulfing his hammer in bright blue, true damage aura. As he reeled back, collecting an abundance of momentum, he ordered his wolves to be ready to follow up, and then began to bring the glorious threat forward with all the force he could imagine. The moment when Ken understood he had overextended, Cypher's hands refused. They burst out in agony. Cypher, distracted by the pain, whiffed, and Ken landed behind him. Ken turned, somehow maintaining his momentum, while Cypher was off balance, landing a devastating blow to Cypher's back. Backstab damage, along with Rengo's blade having reached late-game sharpness, took a massive 78% health from Cypher. Perfect execution from Ken. Cypher was down to just 2% health, barely hanging on. Cypher immediately dashed back, shaken by his hands giving out, and shocked at how close he was to losing. Both remaining wolves arrived at the spot of the strike, leaping at Ken, buying time for Cypher to save himself. One took hold and the other got some backstab damage, taking another 20% off Ken, leaving him at 50%. But it was calculated damage because Ken had seized the opportunity to put his knife through another wolf. The last remaining wolf was at 100%. Ken had 50, Cypher barely hanging on with 2. Any attack would end Cypher. Late game sharpness because he managed to sharpen his knife, which seems to be how Rengo powers up, I guess. Ken wanted to get rid of the last wolf because why not? It was a safe play. Get rid of the last wolf and Cypher would be alone with 2%. He didn't want them to know that though. He needed to bait the last wolf into attacking alone. Cypher knew Rengo was going to bait his final dog into attacking him. He had to sacrifice himself. He knew it was the only play. Cypher would have to put down his divine hammer at the right time and put his legs to the test. He had to save the dog. It was still at 100%. Even as hopeless as it may be, it was his only option. It's the only play. Ken's knife, at the ready, stood between Cypher and his last divine wolf. He started a sprint at Cypher, and the wolf flexed every muscle geared towards the offensive, leaping immediately at his master's attacker. Ken, fully aware of the wolf's attack, stopped, anticipating the mouth of the beast. Ringo swung with his left uppercut to the wolf's throat and brought the blade with his right arm to the beast's heart, only to get stopped by Uthran himself. Ken let out a frustration as he pulled his blade back from Cypher's chest. He knew. Ringo's knife fully penetrated Uthran, but the blade was stopped, and the wolf was fine. Uthran now at 0 health. Cypher entered a black screen with words standby, match still in progress. Ugh, good lord. I know I'm not exactly the best thing to have grace this earth, but I know I've only cared about myself for as long as I can remember, but I could really use some help on this one. If you're out there, if you're a thing, I need some help on this one. It's not looking good for me. Cypher said out loud into his console, feeling defenseless. What a wonderful prayer. Ken was exhausted. He'd exhausted himself constantly having to deal with the wolves, and his lucky break with this stage. He's only managed a few moments to catch his breath. He still had one full health wolf to deal with. Something wasn't right. Ash from the volcano began to part, making way to a beaming light from the sky. Ken turned around only to see the final wolf, staring his way with pure hatred. My master sacrificed himself for me. Beams of golden light pierced through his eyes as the beast grew 2 times, now 3 times its original size. The divine wolf was panting harder and harder, while the fangs grew longer and longer. The magnificent wolf leapt high into the air, hit its apex near at the top of the stage, and started spiraling down at Rengo. A huge light radiated from the sky, and a bolt manifested. The bolt was speeding down and conjoining with the divine wolf, forming a smite. Ken didn't have a chance to process what was happening. The smite smashed into him. Rock and lava shot up all around Ken. Spinning glares from the broken obsidian were being eclipsed by a beam so bright all he could do was close his eyes. It was a direct hit on Rengo. What remained of his health bar vanished. The wolf separated from the light and lost its divine form. It curled up next to Uthran. Uthran's body turned white and started to glow gold. It began to rise from the ground. A victory screen lay across Cypher's display. Cypher went nuts, screaming to himself, "What happened? Ken was at 50%! How did the wolf do it? How did my wolf do it?" Did my prayer work? Did this one send the big guy himself? Apparently. The fudge cake. Rick may have a gambling problem. Oh, where was that? There it is. Yeah. Well, that was exciting. I am kind of mad. Yeah, submitting character name and avatar name is confusing, and I'm kind of mad that we didn't get, like, a description of the avatars as well, because, like, obviously, I still don't know what Rengo is supposed to be. Like, is it a monkey? Is it a werewolf? What is this avatar supposed to be? I just don't know. We got with Uthran that it was some kind of paladin, because we got that description, but, I don't know. I don't know what they look like. It was a cool match, and the action was great. But a druid? Maybe just a druid of some kind? But he just said he had fur, so maybe it's fur armor? I have no clue. We've had no hints from the author, and that bothers me a little bit. Avatar of Wrath? Maybe later. But the action was great, though. I very much enjoyed reading that. And I look forward to the fallback. Rick was watching what he felt was about to be his biggest payout. Rick knew deep down what he was betting was too much. The thrill of victory was consuming him. When his conscience started to talk sense to him, he beat it back with justifications. He'd think to himself that this was a sure thing. Can't lose, even if I lose this one, I'll win the next one thing. Yo, Scotty, this is it, man. Ken has him! Rick was high off the thrill of victory, and high off the rush. His eyes were dilated, his hands were trembling with adrenaline. He could finally start to pay some people back. He could get some pressure off his back. Ken had just baited one of the wolves into a bad attack, but Cypher cut off Ken's attack at the last moment, sacrificing himself for the full health wolf. Cypher was on the ground, motionless. A massive grin was across Rick's face, his brown eyes elated. Rick leapt into the air, leapt out of his chair with his arms straight in the air. Everyone was pumped. These fans had been riding Rick's win streak along with him. Wait. How much did the keychains cost again? I forgot. You know what? I forgot too. I have no clue. I'll tell you when they're up. Something wasn't right. The last remaining wolf was beginning to grow. What is this? Light was piercing the clouds of volcanic ash. The wolf's fangs doubled, now tripled in size. It didn't look happy. It looked downright vicious. It wanted to bite Rengo's head off, snarling with saliva spewing in every direction. Its eyes began to emanate a radiant light aimed directly at Rengo. Also, will the New Luck one cost me money? I mean, you'll have to pay for postage at least. I'll need some money to at least get it posted to you. The wolf leapt into the air, and the sky went gold, and an enormous light manifested and slammed down from the sky, engulfing Ken, and his HP bar vanished. Uthran's spirit appeared and re-entered his body. Rick's heart sank faster than a 1,000-ton anchor. The victory screen appeared on Uthran. Cypher had won. No, can't be. Ken was winning the entire time. I needed to pay my debts. What am I going to do? Rick had just gone from a secure victory to an ultimate defeat. He couldn't believe it. He sat there, staring at his empty drink in a way. His eyes glazed over in pure disbelief. Scotty, sensing the tension, reached over and handed him another rum and coke with lime. This one's on the house. Rick nodded, still a million miles away in terror. This was the bet. Scotty, I needed this one, man. Rick got off his stool, completely ignoring the free drink, and began his shame-filled departure. It's exactly esports. It's 100% esports. Scotty began to grasp how much money Rick had to Wick may have wagered. Hey, you okay, man? Rick didn't turn back to answer. He continued walking off the sports book. Walking out of the sports book, hunched over and moving slow. Vtuber sports. The closest thing that is to Vtuber sports, I believe, would be the HoloLive Summer Sports Festival. Important lessons, folks. Gambling is very dangerous. Should be done. Yes, indeed, should be done carefully and with moderation. And this is not just big sporting events like this. Even just your gacha should be done carefully and with moderation. This has been your PSA for the day. If Mountain Dew made tea, would you drink it? Probably not. I wouldn't trust them to make tea. Also, I've not really had Mountain Dew either, so I have no idea. All I know is it's apparently very bad for you, so I wouldn't trust them to make tea. Cypher's interview chapter. We're on chapter 8 already. We're nearly 25% of the way through this book already. Oh lord, we gotta be through quick, which is fine, because honestly the next one's already lined up, so it's good. Can't lose if you send money here, though. Yeah! Support me. That's spending in moderation and sensibly. And you're not betting on anything. You're just... Because I'm not going anywhere, regardless of if you put money in or not. Putting money in pretend currency should be done in moderation and carefully. Yes! And, like... Careful the T's and C's. The crowd was electric throughout the Colosseum. People were getting rowdy. Hey, get off me! Yeah, I saw it. I know, yeah. I have to go give Cypher an interview on national TV. So, could you get off me, pretty please, good sir? The drunken buffoon was now yelling and somewhat slurring. You do the interviews, that's where I know you from. Wow! Ashana was always composed and excited during interviews, but she wasn't sure what she just saw. She took her shoes off and jewellery before entering one of the network's Evo consoles. Ashana just had to have a little faith that she would say the right thing. Cypher hadn't calmed down yet and wanted answers. He booted up the replay and skipped towards the end. I can't believe it. I prayed to God and it worked. Was that God? Or the game? Or was it both? I'm gonna have to start being less of a dick. Cypher logged into the evolution training room to see if anything about Uthran had changed. He had a hunch that this was something more. Sure enough, a mythic ability had been unlocked for Uthran. A special message came across the screen. Congratulations, a reward for your faith and for your self-sacrifice. From now on, when you fight as Uthran, your wolves will truly love you. Cypher was awarded with the in-game title of Man's Best Friend. This was the first moment that anyone had discovered a mythic ability. Cypher couldn't stop shaking his head in disbelief. Had it been in the game the entire time, or maybe the devs just patched it in without telling anyone? A ninja patch? Cypher closed the replay after noticing an invite message from Ashana. An interview, please. Smiley face. He accepted from inside his console and loaded onto a virtual couch next to Ashana, looking out to the crowd surrounding him. The high-tech projectors projected the front of the interview to all the angles of the Colosseum. He was settling in and taking a look around at the crowd. He couldn't stop himself from thinking about the game. What does "your walls will truly love you" even mean? Cypher! Cypher, hello? You there? Ashana was trying to grab Cypher out of his thoughts. Yeah, Ashana, sorry, I just had a thought, is all. Can you repeat the question? Ashana's green eyes lit up with excitement. I don't even care what I just asked. All I want to know is, what were you even thinking about? Cypher smirked. Evolution just alerted me that I unlocked a mythic ability. The fans gasped and Ashana scooted closer to Cypher, her smile widening. The dress she chose to go over her smooth tan skin was extremely in fashion. We don't know the description, it's just in fashion and that's all you can know. I love it. I love it. He's described the dudes a lot. That's very silly. She'd probably be ranking in referrals tonight from some of the other fangirls' microtransactions. Well, that's awesome. A mythic ability. I'm going to come at you with follow-up questions, Cypher. You ready? What's a mythic ability? Ready? Go. They both held each other's eyes and laughed. The fans were enjoying the banter and anticipation. All you need to know. Fashion. Well, I'm not too sure. We'll have to mess around in training a bit, but the game told me your wolves will now truly love you. Oh my god, you hear that, everyone? Cypher's gonna have some loyal-ass wolves. The crowd was cheering at the achievement, but everyone was also murmuring among themselves, with some confusion. What does that mean, Cypher? Cypher shifted his weight and put his hands on his head. I'm not sure, you're probably right. The wolves may just be more loyal and better equipped to help me during my matches. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? It's a great time to be alive. Yes, it is. Very much so. Can I ask you a couple more before we wrap up? I'm curious what your thoughts are on Ken's performance. Cypher's instincts kicked in and he opened his mouth, about to make a joke about the little jungle kitten. So was it a cat? I don't even know. Like, we don't know! Mr. Falconer, please can we know more about these avatars? Twide hard baby voice, but he stopped himself. He didn't make that joke. Ken fought well. I thought I'd lost. I'm not sure how to explain my win. He deserves a lot of credit for his performance tonight, and I shouldn't have taken that bounty as lightly as I did. My choice of Uthran didn't give me the initial advantage I was planning on. Ken dealt with my strategy like a champ. The entire crowd was quiet. They didn't expect such an honourable response. They were used to getting some juicy drama from Cypher's cynical banter. Ashana perked up and saw this as an opportunity. The lack of drama was drama. Cypher, I didn't expect such honourable commentary about your opponent, given your history. What changed? How did Ken earn your respect? Cypher's instinct was to play Ashana's question and confirm her suspicion of respecting Ken individually, but he stopped himself. He wanted to be honest and transparent for a change. It wasn't as much about Ken's performance as it is about how I won. I feel like it was bigger than just me or Ken. I'm still not sure what happened, but I feel like I owe the big guy one. As Hannah was nodding her head, listening to Cypher's words intently. Is that something, huh? I had a bit of a breakthrough, did you? Well, that's just great, Cypher. I'm happy for you. You put on an amazing show tonight, and thank you so much for the post-fight interview. I hope you have a good night. We need to bring in Ken next, so we'll talk with you later, Cypher. Thanks for having me, Ashana. And you look more beautiful than ever. Ashana tried to keep from blushing. She failed. Okay, bye, Cypher. Was the wolves a hidden perk or ability? It sounds like... yeah. So the wolves seem to be kind of a part of that character's build. That he has wolves. And yeah, it sounds like the Rengo is some kind of jungle cat, I guess? I like this book, but it has bothered me somewhat that we don't have those descriptions. Can't read your brain, author! What do they look like? What am I imagining? What is playing the roles in my fictional brain movie? Ken beats a door. What a title name. I think for tonight, I kind of want to leave it there. Because we're 27% of the way through and we only got 10 minutes left of the stream. And I could probably get a little bit further, but I don't want to. I want the book to last. So that will be it for today's stream. Release of the book. We can still chat if you want. Oh, I'm burping a lot, and it's because of the pizza. It's pizza taste burps. Cliffhanger. Will he beat the door? We don't know. The door could beat him. We just don't know. He could lose twice in a row. I don't blame him for beating a door. Honestly, I would be so salty about that some kind of like hidden power did it. Why can't I see more briny fan art? Well, she did say I can draw whatever I want. Man, where's Forks at when you need them? Honestly, low-key, I'm kind of glad Forks isn't around! Because Forks may watch the VOD of this, so Forks, I apologize, but good lord, I can't imagine what would be going through your head during some of the conversations we had today. So far in this novel, I wish the author went into some more nerdy detail about the console and the game itself. I do too! I feel like we're missing a lot. Like, Yeah, like what's the history? I need the yeah. I'm entirely with you on that, Boris. It's just I like the concept of this, and I like the descriptions, and the fight was really good and things like that. But we need more details in this book. It's not enough. I need more. Which is honestly one of the best complaints you can have about a book. Really, that you want more. I'm in. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty into this book, but like I need more. We need more thickness. It needs to be thicker. Thick book with 2 C's. Why do you have pizza thick as you burps? I don't know. I'm just burping a lot and it tastes like pizza, so I'm assuming it's the pizza. Writing in this is unique. It definitely feels like a gamer wrote this, for better for worse. Indubitably, a gamer did most definitely write this. And I'm enjoying it. I'm already 20% of the way through, so it's definitely not a long one. It says it's only 124 pages long, so we're really not gonna get... It's really gonna get through it real fast. But that's fine. Because I actually had a different book lined up originally, but that book is getting a facelift soon, so I couldn't read that one just yet because they wanted me to hold off until the end of the month when they put out a new version. So I have to wait. So no, not safe for work fan art for the not safe. Yeah, I'm fine with it existing, but I don't really want it on my Discord. Thank you. Yeah, no, not safe for work on the Discord, please. No, not safe for work art room on the Discord because I just don't really want it. I'm fine with it existing, like by all, like it's the, like I said, it's the internet. I've accepted that it exists. We need a bonk emote. They'll definitely need to get a bonk emote going. And I really like the idea of the hashtag briny art picture book. Should we have a look at Twitter and see if that's taken? Briny art book. Hashtag briny art book. I'm gonna search that. And if that's the case, I will make that an official tag. There is no results for briny art book. Yeah, so there's never going to be a not like if there was ever going to be more not safe for work, if there was going to be a collection of not safe for work stuff for me, it would have to be somewhere else. I don't want it on the Discord. Like I said, it can exist. Whatever. People be people. Forbidden picture books. I'm not sure about forbidden picture books now I think about it a little bit more. Because it that kind of makes it sound potentially could be lewd. But I like the briny picture book because then it's pictures of me that could go in a book kind of thing. The briny picture book. I think I like that the best. So I'm gonna put that as a little announcement. Hashtag briny picture book for fan art. Maybe I'll put up some of my chibis now. And then that'll be the picture book. And then maybe one day. Oh no, I closed the wrong tab, and now I can't see the chat. I don't know what you're saying. 1 minute. I closed the wrong tab, and now I can't see chat. La 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 la. La 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 la. Loading. I can see chat again. Hello. I don't use Twitter or TikTok, Briny. Then I don't know. Use whatever. What social medias does one use? I can see this now. I can see you guys again. I just had to reload the tab because I'm a dum-dum and I closed the wrong thing. But I like that. Briny picture book. Briny picture book. I don't know, it's kind of wild to get to 2K and be thinking about, like I said, I'm like, I'm not gonna bother with an art tag when I first debut. Like, no one's gonna want to draw me. There's gonna be nothing in there. But, you know, we're at 2K now. It's bonkers. Still can't believe it. I will never believe it. Next week, we'll talk about next week a hot second. So annoyingly, I wanted next week YouTube, Discord, Twitch, only for select people. Fair. Next week, I was thinking about doing slightly less streams because I'm getting a wee tired. Now I'd like an extra day off next week. So, but I do plan on doing like just a lot of different streams next week. One, to break my routine a little bit, break up my monotony, which is part of taking a whole break. So I can say on Friday, Luke, if you're still lurking, I'm looking forward to Lethal Company on Friday! Yay! I will be playing Lethal Company with Luke, a fellow VTuber called Cynthia Cleric, and at least one Minecraft assistant, because I need to do that. I don't know which assistant would like to join. I know Jake, you said potentially, and I think Chase say potentially as well. But I need one more thingy. One more person to help me suffer in Lethal Company next Friday. Other streams, like I said, they'll be different. I'm thinking of a fun little crochet stream where I've made these tiny turtles and I want to see how many I can make in the one stream, and then I can let chat name them and I'll put them up for adoption on the store, and then you can adopt them and I'll send them to you for some postage money with a little adoption certificate, and it'll be cute as heck. Be cute as heck! That's fine, boys. Void. And I have one. I'm still gonna stream 3 times. I'm just cutting out one stream in the week just to give me like set that one extra day off. I don't know what I'm gonna. I think I might play some Pal World or something for one of the other streams because that's fun. I've been having a lot of fun on that recently. Yeah, you guys can get little turtles and name them. It'd be great. And then some Pal World on one of the days. I don't know what days it will be. I will probably have the schedule up soon. I don't think Lethal Company is on the Play Store. I also need whoever's going to be playing with me to install some mods. I need to go through that with Luke. So I don't think you'll be able to play Void with a mobile version. But either way, that is what I'm thinking about next week. We're going to break up the monotony of doing my usual streams over and over and just do something different and fun. And that is how we will celebrate 2K, with some fun and different things. I have some other things working on in the background. I really hoped that, you know, either 2K wouldn't come as fast. So it's all gonna have to wait. But there are things. And I'm excited for those things. And they're on the way. But they could take months to come, but I'm excited. But anyway, that's all I can tell you about those things. Yeah, we're gonna break up the routine next week. It's gonna be fun. But that is it for today. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you anyone who lurked. And thank you to anyone who watches the VOD. If you are interested in this book, there is a link in the description to the Amazon page so you can pick it up yourself. If you enjoyed the stream, I would also highly appreciate it if you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support me in a monetization way, I have memberships, I have a Patreon, I have a Kofi, and I have super chats. You can throw money at me in many directions, and sometimes you get stuff back for that money. Like on the merch store, where we have t-shirts, we have bookmarks, and we have actual physical books. Da-da-da! But that is it so far. There will be more stuff then coming eventually. We're getting there. We're getting there. But that is it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Brian Smith, live in the Bin Library. Goodbye.